So for the fourth time, Donald Trump was arraigned. He was arrested in Atlanta on election interference charges. You know, I've made a couple of videos about Donald Trump and the situation he finds himself in. And I don't want this Therapist React series to turn into an assessment of Donald Trump every single day. But when there's prominent news, I want to do it. That's the whole point of this series. And there's something about this series that relates to gaslighting that I want to display for you, that I want to explain to you, that I want to cover. So once again, I'm Elliott Connie, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. And the Therapist React series is all about bringing psychological information to you that we find in popular news stories. And I want to share that information because it impacts us on a daily basis. And this is one of those stories where I'm going to cover it. So before I do, I want you to understand that Donald Trump has every right to, do what he does, say what he says, all that kind of stuff. I just want to explain a few aspects of what's happening here. So yesterday he was arrested for the first time. A mugshot was released. And then he did an interview when he got out of the jail that I'm going to play for you now.
I believe this is a very sad day for America. This should never happen. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others. When you have that great freedom to challenge, you have to be able to, otherwise you're going to have very dishonest elections. What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows it. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones, too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. And this is one instance, but you have three other instances. It's election interference. So I want to thank you for being here. We did nothing wrong at all. And we have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think it's very dishonest. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Before I explain some of the things that happened there, I want to show you the definition of gaslighting. So gaslighting is psychological manipulation of a person, usually over an extended period of time, that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception of reality or memories, and typically leads to confusion, loss of confidence and self-esteem, uncertainty of one's emotional or mental stability, and a dependency on the predator. Let's go back to the Donald Trump interview that he just gave. Donald Trump is 100% correct. He has every right to challenge an election that he thinks is false or stolen or, as he said, dishonest. But where it becomes gaslighting and manipulation, and I want to highlight a couple of things he said in there, is he said, and as he is expressing, I had every right to do this, he is manipulating the situation and he's manipulating the public. In this point, when it says, when gaslighting definition is a person, in this example, the public is the person that he is manipulating, because he knows that those are not the charges. He is not being charged with challenging the election. He did that in courts legally. He multiple times, 60 times, challenged the election in different states, and those challenges were not fruitful. He's not being charged with challenging the election. He's being charged with his conduct in which he challenged it. In this case, specifically in Georgia, there were recordings of him on the phone saying things, and those lead to his charges. So that is an example of gaslighting, where you shift reality for the purposes of manipulating a person, and in this case, the public. When he says, we've done nothing wrong, I also agree that Donald Trump gets to say that, and he has a court system to be able to demonstrate whether he did nothing wrong or not. As any other American, he has the right to defend himself legally. He has the right to his day in court. The arrest and indictment is not proof of guilt. It is simply saying a grand jury has heard the evidence and thinks there's enough credibility there to bring forth charges. So when Donald Trump says things like, we've done nothing wrong, once again, that is an attempt to manipulate. That is an attempt to cause you to think something, because he obviously has every right to go to court and give his defense. The other thing that I will say is you will hear him use the word they very often. Donald Trump will say things like, this is their attempt. And the truth is, there is no they. You have to be very specific on the people. There are different charges in different states and in different courts about different conduct. There is no one great they that have colluded to make this happen for him. He's being held accountable, or potentially being held accountable for his behavior. Different grand juries have heard the evidence and have decided there's enough credibility there to bring forth charges. That is our legal system. And the fact that it is moving in this way, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. I find it ironic that the candidate that was like, I'm about justice and police and law and order, he said that many times as he ran, now that the law is attempting to hold you accountable, that doesn't make it any less valid. I understand you may not disagree with these charges. I understand that you may not like these charges, but multiple grand juries have heard the evidence and think it's credible to bring forth charges. I make this video because I want you to see what is happening. This is what gaslighting looks like. People, you can support whatever candidate you want. You can support whatever ideologies you want, but be aware that you are being gaslit. You are being manipulated. And this is an example of what that manipulation looks like. Donald Trump knows he is not being indicted because he challenged the election in 2020. I completely agree with him. He has every right to challenge the election, but you don't have the right to call people and force them to find votes. You don't have the right to present fake electors. You don't have the right to strong arm people, to threaten people. You don't have the right to do those things. And that's what he's allegedly done. You can do the research, look up online. There are audio recordings of him doing certain things and saying certain things. And those are the reasons that charges are being brought. It has absolutely nothing to do with, I have the right to challenge an election. It's about his conduct with which he and his co-defendants have tried to challenge the election. So look, I know the deal. I'm gonna get a bunch of comments underneath this video. A black man making a video that seems critical of Donald Trump. You guys are gonna say all kinds of things, and that's fine. I can deal with it. But I make this video because the psychology of what is happening here is important. And this is exactly what gaslighting looks like. And I just want you to be aware of it. Support whatever candidate you want, vote however you want to vote, but just be aware of what is happening. And this is exactly what gaslighting looks like. It's a manipulation to change the reality with which you see. And it usually takes place over time. Think about how long Donald Trump has been saying this, and it's actually not accurate. He is not being truthful and forthright when he says, I have the right to challenge an election. He knows that is not what the charge is about. The charge is about his conduct, and he has every right to go to court. He said multiple times, I've done nothing wrong. He has every right to go to court and demonstrate that. But that's not the charge here, and this is what gaslighting looks like. So get mad in my comments, that's totally fine. Make fun of me, say things you want, but I think it's important that we understand what gaslighting looks like, and this is why I made this video. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for watching the Therapist React series. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share this video. When you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified every single time we post a new video, which is every day, Monday through Friday. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.